Part 88. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 871. I'm so envious. Otherwise. Yu Sun Tao turned around and looked at me with a smile. Otherwise you should also care about me. I haven't enjoyed the feeling of being cared for by a man. Yu Sun Tao's charming tone makes people feel like a kitten is scratching your chest. I sighed in my heart. How could there be such an evil woman in this world? A smile can touch your heart. Could it be that, this girl is naturally charming? Su Tianqian glanced at Yu Sun Tao indifferently. The latter held her arm tightly and said in a coquettish tone, "Oh. I said the wrong thing. I said the wrong thing. Sister Tianqian, don't be angry." Su Tianqian ignored her and said to me, "Be careful when you go down. If you encounter any danger, you must return as soon as possible." I nodded and replied, "I know." I asked a very critical question, that is, how to imprint the things recorded on the immortal tablet. After all, the immortal monument is in water, so it definitely cannot be done using ordinary methods, and I don't have any rubbing tools on hand right now. Su Tianqian pondered for a moment and replied, "It can be done using the secret of heaven." The secret of heaven? I instantly understood what Su Tianqian meant. The Tianmai Ru is equivalent to the talisman paper. The blank Tianmai Ru can be used to draw any talisman, and rubbings should be a no-brainer. I just wanted to draw a waterproof charm and then go into the water, but Su Tianqian stopped me. "Xiao Su, you can use the waterproof talisman I drew." I took the water-avoiding charm from my master. My master is powerful, so the waterproof talisman he draws lasts longer. Moreover, the water-repellent charm cannot be used multiple times in a short period of time. "Master, I'm going down." Su Tianqian nodded and replied, "Pay attention to safety." I smiled at her, activated the water-avoiding charm, and then jumped directly from the building boat. The cold sea water immediately enveloped me, and it felt as cold as if I was in an ice house. I looked around and saw a golden light flashing not far away. In the water, the golden light is not as bright as on the boat, but it can definitely guide me in the direction. I slowly swam towards the beam of light in the water. Not long after swimming, the chill around us became more intense. Moreover, I also discovered that the distance between me and the golden light had not decreased, and it still felt as far as it did at the beginning. I stopped and looked at the golden light. I was just sure that I had swam far away. How could the distance between me and that light not decrease at all? The distance between that beam of light and me is like an unbridgeable gap. At this moment, a melodious song suddenly sounded in my ears. Singing. How can there be singing in the deep sea? The singer's voice is clear and melodious, but also extremely melodious and long-lasting. Just like a lark or an oriole, there is a hint of sadness in the emptiness. I couldn't understand what he was singing, but it sounded so good that I was fascinated by it before I knew it. At this moment, the sea water began to churn, and the undercurrent surged. After a while, a large whirlpool formed around me. I came to my senses in an instant and wanted to leave here, but found that I was deeply trapped in the whirlpool and couldn't extricate myself. In this way, I was sucked into the eye of the sea by the whirlpool on the bottom of the sea, and I was also dizzy and extremely nauseated by the spinning body sensation. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 872. I don't know how long this feeling lasted. After I recovered, I found myself in endless darkness. I screamed in my heart, "Where am I being swept up by the whirlpool?" But one thing I can be sure of is that I am still at the bottom of the sea. I looked around and saw darkness everywhere I looked. At this moment, I suddenly noticed a flash of light out of the corner of my eye. It's that golden light. This golden light is like a person's hope in despair. I swam in the direction of the golden light, and this time the distance between me and the golden light was slowly decreasing. Soon I came directly under the golden light. This is an underwater cave where corals, shellfish, starfish, jellyfish, and seaweeds of various colors are dancing under the surging undercurrent, which is so beautiful. That's right, it's directly below, the golden light is right above my head. I swam directly above, and after a short while, my head came out of the water. What is surprising is that there is air here. So, how is this gorgeous and peculiar landscape formed? I climbed out of the water onto the shore. The air here is very dry and not as stuffy as expected. I looked around and finally set my sights on a huge stone monument. The golden light burst out from this stone tablet. My eyes lit up, the emperor really paid off. Finally I found it. I stood in front of the stone tablet and looked at the words carved on it. No, it shouldn't be said to be words, but a map. It seems that this should be the route map to Penglay Island. I called out a blank heaven's secret key, then picked up the sword art and pointed it at the immortal steel. The next moment, the heavenly secret ruler flew towards the immortal monument, and then a magical scene happened. The pattern of the base map on the immortal tablet was filled with golden light, and it was directly submerged into the heavenly secret barrier. I stretched out my hand, and the heavenly secret barrier flew into my hand. I looked at the lines on the heavenly secret, which were exactly the same as those on the immortal tablet. Ordinary people may not be able to find Penglay Island if they have this map, because it is not that easy to sail on the sea. But we are different, we found Luchuan. The evil spirits on the building ship are full of resentment, which has already affected the building ship. As a dead creature, the building boat inherited the obsession of those evil spirits. What obsession does Ligui have? Naturally, they found the Penglay Ferry Island, because the building ship was the ship Su Fu took to make the eastward journey. Maybe Su Fu's own soul was on the ship. Although we cannot control the movement direction of the building ship, we can make use of the obsession of the ghost on the building ship. Let them see this map, and then let them sail the building ship to Penglay Immortal Island. But now there is a problem before us, that is, if we want to achieve this goal, we must enter the ancient building on the building ship. In other words, we have to face the terrifying existences in the Laochuan ancient building. However, there is no other way now. I put away the secret of heaven and looked around. When I entered the whirlpool, I heard the beautiful and melodious singing. It was obvious that it was the owner of that voice that had led me here. But when I got here, I didn't even see a single person. I bowed my hands into the dark cave and said loudly, "Thank you for your help. If I have the opportunity in the future, I will definitely repay you." No one answered me. I sighed secretly in my heart, turned around and left. But at this moment, a gentle voice suddenly sounded in my ears. "You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanba. Chapter 873. Please stay. I was slightly startled. Woman. It is obviously abnormal for a woman to appear on such an occasion. In contrast, I am more willing to believe that the owner of this voice is a ghost, some kind of spirit, or other existence. I turned around, looked into the darkness, and asked, "What are your orders?" The guy in the dark meant no harm to me. If he wanted to be malicious, he would have chosen to take action when I entered the cave, instead of waiting for me to leave here. "Please come in." The guy in the dark said 2 sentences in total, and each sentence contained the word please. It can be seen from this that he is still very polite. I walked toward the darkness, but I didn't let my guard down. Who knows what is hidden in the darkness? What if they attack me after I get in? I was groping in the dark, and after passing a corner, colorful light suddenly appeared in front of my eyes. As I continued deeper, the light became brighter and brighter, and the view became wider and wider. A woman caught my eye. The woman's appearance is stunning, unparalleled, Her skin is as white as snow, her black hair is as black as ink, silky and smooth, hanging down like a waterfall. The most important thing is that women are human bodies with fish tails. On the lower body, countless crystal clear scales emitting light blue light are neatly arranged on the fish's tail. If you don't look carefully, you won't find that they are scales, but rather like shining gems. This woman was kept in a small cage and looked extremely pitiful. This is a mermaid? No, this should be a shark. After seeing me, the shark's eyes dodged, and his brows were filled with fear. I asked, "Did you bring me here?" The shark nodded and said nothing. I continued to ask, "What do you want me to do for you?" "Just ask, as long as I can help, I will definitely help." The shark must have its own purpose in bringing me here. I didn't feel any malice from the shark. On the contrary, I felt a deep fear of me in her. "I want you to let me out." I was stunned. I thought it was some kind of request. When I came to the front of the shark instinctively felt fear and moved back. I comforted you with words, "Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you." The shark nodded slightly, and when I got closer, I discovered that there were countless pearls on the ground where the shark was. Shark, also known as Quanxian and Quanqi, is a mysterious creature with a fish tail and body in myths and legends. It is recorded in Su Shenji that there are sharks outside the South China Sea. They live in the water like fish and do not waste time weaving. Their eyes can produce pearls when they weep. According to legend, the sharks are good at weaving and can make dragon yarn that does not wet the water, and the tears can turn into beads. Moreover, the grease of the sharks has a very low ignition point and can burn for a long time. It is also said that the everlasting lamp in the mausoleum of the first emperor of Qin is made of the sharks. Made of grease. Looking at the pearls all over the ground, I knew that this shark had been trapped here for a long time, and was sobbing quietly here day and night. I summoned my heart sword and wanted to cut through the cage trapping the shark. When I struck the sword, I heard a clang, but the cage was not damaged at all. On the contrary, a force bounced back from the body of the heart sword. You can't break this cage with brute force, because it is suppressed by talismans. Fulu suppression? I started to look at the iron cage in front of me, and sure enough I found a talisman. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 874. I stretched out my hand to take off the talisman, but the shark suddenly shouted at me, "No." The movements of my hands froze, and I looked at her with some confusion and asked, "What's wrong?" "That talisman is very dangerous. If it touches you, you will definitely be injured." I looked at this talisman carefully. I didn't know what kind of talisman it was. Since the sharks have said so, it's better to be cautious. I took a deep breath, pinched the sword technique, and activated the crepe myrtle energy in my body. The lavender light flickered on my fingertips. I pointed at the talisman and said angrily, "Broken." The purple light penetrated directly into the talisman from my fingertips. The next moment, the talisman fell off by itself. I held my heart sword in my hand and slashed hard at the cage. This time, the cage was broken open directly. The shark came out of the cage, came to me, and said to me, "Thank you." The shark looked hesitant and said, "In order to repay you, you can take away all the pearls on this ground." I glanced at the pearls on the ground and said, "What do I need these for? These are priceless when you look at their color, and just one of them can save ordinary people from having to worry about them for the rest of their lives. However, these pearls have no appeal to me." The shark looked at me in disbelief, and asked weakly, "Do you think it's too little?" I waved my hand and said, "Money is something external to the body. I'm not interested in these pearls. I'm more curious, why are you locked up here? I am really curious about this matter. As for the pearl, I really have no interest in it." The shark lowered his eyes and replied, "I was imprisoned here. He tried to torture me day and night in order to give him more pearls and satisfy his greed for money. I finally know why the shark gave these pearls to me. In her heart, I am the same as the person who captured her, and we are equally greedy for money. I nodded and said, I let you go today, which is a way of repaying your friendship for guiding me here. From now on, you are free. Please remember next time not to be arrested again. The shark lowered his eyes and nodded slightly. I turned around and was about to leave, but when I turned around, she stopped me. Wait a minute. Anything else? I turned around and looked at her with some confusion. The shark said, Are you going to Penglay Immortal Island? I was slightly taken aback and asked, How do you know? The shark pointed to the immortal monument outside and whispered, I have been trapped here for so long. Countless people have come here to look for the immortal monument, but they would not have been able to come here without my help. Moreover, I also know what is recorded on the immortal tablet. A question immediately emerged in my mind. I asked, Why would you help me? The shark hesitated and said, Because, I don't feel like you are a bad person. The shark has a deep fear of human beings, probably related to her previous experiences. Everyone will choose to imprison me after learning their true identity, and then let me make money for them, only you are not like this. For humans, the sharks who can produce pearls are indeed a huge asset. Moreover, through a brief exchange, I found that the shark in front of me was relatively weak in nature. I have been to Penglay Immortal Island. If you need me, I will take you there. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanba. Chapter 875. If the shark in front of us has really been to Penglay Island, it will be of great help to us on our next journey. Thinking of this, I asked, Are you sure you want to help me? The shark nodded seriously. Okay, if that's the case, then you can leave with me. Some sharks are cruel by nature, but the one in front of me has a gentle personality. It would be a good thing to have her help along the way. Afterwards, the shark and I planned to leave the cave. Before leaving, I asked, What's your name? Since we are going to work together in the future, it is better to know her name. You can't just shout like that from the same shark, right? It's so rude. The shark thought for a while, then said softly to me, Hui, my benefactor, my name is Jins. Jins. This reminded me of a poem. That is Li Shangyan's Jin Se. There is a sentence in it, the moon in the sea has tears, and the sun in Lanshan is warm and jade produces smoke. The illusion of the shark is used here. The sharks shed tears in the bright moon, and only then can the jade be turned into blue smoke under the warmth of the sun in Lanshan. I looked at Jins and asked, Who gave you your name? Jins lowered her eyes, her expression became a little lonely, It's my mother. Looking at Jins's look, I knew that her mother was probably an indelible pain in her heart. I nodded and said, Your mother loves you very much. She must have given you a name in the hope that you will cherish your years and the beauty of life, and then live a good life. The poem Jin Se expresses the author's strong love for his lover and his melancholy and emotion about the passing of time. But I think the mother only has hope for her daughter's future life. 2 crystal tears slipped from the corners of Jins's eyes, and then flowed slowly, turning into 2 pearls and falling to the ground, making a crisp sound. Let's go. Jins nodded. Because I didn't know the way I came, I let Jinsala take me out of here. The effect of the waterproof talisman still exists, which means that it didn't take long for me to get here from the building boat. It's just that the torturous environment when I came here made me feel that time passed very long, as if there were several centuries long. Jins said to me, Benefactor, please follow me closely. I haven't left here for a long time. I remember that there is a very dangerous place not far away. Good. If I were asked to leave here alone, I definitely wouldn't be able to do it. You still have to follow Jins. Jins jumped into the water, then exposed her upper body and looked at me quietly. I jumped into the water without any hesitation, and then followed Jins and swam towards the bottom of the sea. The seabed is not completely dark. There are also unknown minerals in the seabed cave that emit a faint light. After being refracted by the seawater, it looks very dreamy. Jins, bathed in this faint glow, looked exceptionally beautiful. As I swam out of the underwater cave, there was a rather weak moonlight above my head. I was so happy that it finally came out. But at this moment, Jins stopped moving. I looked at her doubtfully and saw her eyes staring straight at one place, her eyes full of fear. A bad premonition suddenly arose in my heart, and I followed her line of sight. This sight didn't matter, and it instantly made me frown. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanba. Chapter 876. I saw that the bottom of the water was densely covered with pig cages of various sizes. These pig cages are made of bamboo strips and are cylindrical and mesh-like. The mesh mouth is quite large and one end is open. In addition, each pig cage contains a female corpse. Pig cage immersion, as a punishment in the old days, can be described as very cruel. This punishment mostly applies to women who have affairs behind their husbands' backs. Pig cage dipping means putting the prisoner into the pig cage, tying a rope around the opening, hanging him up, and submerging him in the river. For minor offenders, the head should be exposed to the water, and they can be released after a few days of immersion. For serious offenders, they can be released. It can be submerged and drowned to death. I felt strong yin qi and resentment in the bodies of these pig cage female corpses. Even if they were really guilty after being tortured to death by such a cruel punishment as being soaked in a pig cage, their resentment would not diminish at all, but would only increase day by day. I think this is the dangerous place that Jins mentioned. Moreover, looking at the idea of this pig cage, the oldest one is thousands of years old, because the bamboo strips used to weave it have rotted so much that the original appearance cannot be seen at all. If you want to successfully return to the building ship, you must pass through this area. Just when I was thinking about how to get out of here, I suddenly felt like someone tapped me on the shoulder. I looked condensed and turned around suddenly, but there was nothing behind me. I looked around vigilantly, and happened to catch a glimpse of Jins's frightened expression. I saw her eyes widening, staring closely behind me. Jins opened her mouth and shouted at me, "Benefactor! She is right behind you." I was stunned for a moment and suddenly grabbed my back. This grab felt like I had caught a puddle of rotten mud. I used force and threw the thing behind me out with great force. I saw a rotten woman appearing in front of me. The female corpse was right behind me just now, but when I turned my head, the female corpse hid behind me very quickly. I didn't see it or notice it. It stands to reason that there is no way I would not notice such a female corpse behind me. The reason why I can't notice it is because the sea water affects my body sense, which makes me unable to feel the yin energy around me keenly. I summoned my heart sword and struck hard at the female corpse. This female corpse moved very quickly in the water, and my corpse actually fell through the air. In fact, you can't blame me for this. There is a huge difference between fighting in the water and fighting on the shore. In the water, my accuracy and power will be greatly reduced. Moreover, Leiju cannot be used casually. Here, all I can rely on are my own special abilities and other talismans. The movement on my side instantly attracted the attention of the female corpses in the pig cage at the bottom of the sea. Their bodies shook slightly, and then they all raised their heads and stared at me with their rotten eyes. I screamed in my heart that it was not good. At this moment, those female corpses swam towards me like crazy. And the speed is just a few bucks, just like a torpedo. My expression condensed and I opened the Nine Eyes heavenly realm and disappeared in an instant. When he reappeared, he was already in a relatively safe water area. The female corpse in the pig cage lost its target, then looked around, and set its sights on me again. The next moment, they rushed towards me like arrows leaving the string. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanba. Chapter 877. My expression hardened, and with a wave of my hand, a heavenly secret appeared in front of me. With the thought, a water talisman has been drawn. Using the water talisman in the water is like adding more power to a tiger. I need the secrets with both hands and activate the water talisman. There was an undercurrent surging in the water, and the powerful current set off a whirlpool in the sea, heading straight towards the female corpse in the pig cage. The powerful whirlpool overturned countless female corpses in pig cages, swirling in the sea. At first, these female corpses in the pig cage were unable to break free from the huge whirlpool brought by the water talisman. However, within a few seconds, a powerful yin energy burst out from the corpse of the pig cage woman. The powerful yin energy directly dispersed the water talisman. This level of yin energy made me feel cold. These female corpses were full of resentment during their lifetimes, and have been trapped here for such a long time after their death. Their Taoism is so profound that it is impossible for ordinary Taoism to cause any harm to them. In water, Leiju is restricted and cannot exert its full power, and may even injure oneself. However, it's not like I don't have a way to deal with these female corpses. I stretched out my right hand and activated the soul-stealing blood hand. Scarlet blood slowly spread from my arm. The blood slowly merged with the sea water, and then spread towards the surroundings. The blood of the soul-stealing blood hand is not produced from my body. If it were produced from my body, wouldn't I die of excessive blood loss? The effect of the water-repellent talisman is about to disappear completely. I must deal with these female corpses in the pig cage as soon as possible, and then surface as soon as possible. Thinking of this, I unfolded the Nine Eyes Heaven Realm, and used the power of the Nine Eyes Heaven Realm to control the blood from the soul-stealing blood hand to attack the female corpse in the pig cage. Scarlet blood mixed with sea water surrounded the female corpse in the pig cage. Immediately afterwards, I saw the corpse of the female pig cage in the blood began to struggle crazily. The soaked and rotten face was full of pain, and the whole face looked even more shocking. The soul-stealing bloody hand can cause soul damage to these pig cage female corpses. But it still takes a lot of effort to completely eliminate it. After all, these guys are very profound. In order to avoid long nights and endless dreams, I directly summoned the Golden Light Killing and Slashing Array. The Golden Light Killing and Slashing Array slowly unfolded on the seabed. The dazzling golden light instantly illuminated the entire seabed. Scarlet blood was injected into the Golden Light Killing and Slashing Array, dyeing the entire array blood red. Everywhere he looked was blood red. I don't want to continue to waste time. If I wait until the effective time of the water repellent charm expires, the only thing waiting for me is death. My face turned cold, I summoned my heart sword, raised my heart sword high, and struck hard at the Golden Light Killing and Slashing Array. The Golden Light Killing Array began to operate, and countless bloody rays of light were like sharp swords attacking the female corpse in the pig cage. In an instant, the female corpse in the pig cage started struggling wildly in the Golden Light Killing and Killing formation, howling loudly. Logically speaking, no sound can be transmitted through water. But these female corpses in pig cages are attempts by evil ghosts, and common sense is not worth mentioning in front of them. The effect of the water repellent charm began to fade away, and I gradually felt that I had difficulty breathing. I quickly swam toward the sea. But there is a certain distance from the water here. When I swam out of the water, it was too late. At this moment, Jin swam towards me quickly. She hugged me and swam quickly toward the water. Sky Coffin. Author, Ching Nian Wanba. Chapter 878. As a mermaid, Jins naturally swims much faster in the sea than a human like me. Soon, Jins took me out of the water. I took a big breath of fresh air, feeling like I was going to suffocate and die just now. Because the water-avoiding talisman had just failed, the golden light-killing and slashing formation also collapsed immediately. And the female corpses in the pig cage are swimming towards the side quickly after suffering heavy injuries. I looked around, trying to find any trace of the ship. The moonlight slanted down, and in the boundless moonlight, I saw a huge black shadow. Obviously, that huge black shadow is Lu Chuan. I took a deep breath, dived into the water, and took a look at the female corpse in the pig cage that had been severely injured by the golden light-killing chop. If the golden light-killing and killing array can persist for a while, these female corpses in the pig cage will definitely be eliminated. But it's too late to say anything now. Now we must find a way to get back to the building ship. I used Nine Eyes' heavenly domain and grabbed Jin's with one hand. The latter exclaimed and looked very panicked. "Don't be afraid, I will take you out of here." As soon as I finished speaking, I used the power of the Nine Eyes Heaven realm to flash and disappear in an instant. When I reappeared, I was already in the sea 10 meters away. The female corpse in the pig cage was injured once by the golden light-killing slash. It was absolutely impossible for them to move as fast as before. I used Nine Eyes Heaven realm to keep the distance with them fiercely. It would not be so easy for them to catch up. But my swimming speed is still not as fast as those female corpses at the bottom of the sea. Jins grabbed my hand and said to me, "Benefactor, I will take you away." Then, Jins grabbed my hand and swam quickly in the direction of the building boat. Soon, we arrived under the building boat. Su Tianxian, who was standing on the deck, breathed a sigh of relief after seeing me. I used the power of the Nine Eyes heavenly domain to return to the plywood of the ship again. Of course Jins was also brought up by me. As soon as I regained my footing, the sea surface churned for a while, and then one by one, miserable faces emerged from the sea surface. These female corpses were locked in pig cages. Although the pig cages were somewhat damaged after death, they were still hanging on their bodies. Su Tianxuan's expression changed slightly when he saw the female corpses in these pig cages. I picked up the 9 layers thunder technique and wanted to completely eliminate these female corpses in pig cages. However, at this moment, Su Tianxian stretched out his hand to stop me and said, "Xiao Su, stop." I stopped what I was doing, looked at Su Tianxian with some confusion, and asked, "Master, what's wrong?" Su Tianxian stared at the pig cage female corpses in the sea and said word by word, "This pig cage female corpse is no better than other evil ghosts. She had great grievances during her lifetime, and after being imprisoned in the pig cage for such a long time, her grievances have reached unimaginable levels." When I heard this, I suddenly realized something was wrong. Su Tianxian continued, "If you take action to completely eliminate these female corpses in pig cages, then their grievances will have nowhere to vent. When the time comes, these grievances are forced on you, and then you will be stained with their karma. Once if you get involved in cause and effect, the consequences will be disastrous. Then Master, what should we do? Being able to be immersed in pig cages has some problems of its own. The kind of women in movies and TV shows who are framed and drowned in pig cages can be considered real. But that's rare." Su Tianxian thought for a moment and said, "Save them." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 879. To save them. How can this be transcended? These female corpses in pig cages all have hideous faces, full of resentment. If the gate to the underworld is used, it is obvious that they will not enter obediently. Su Tianxian thought for a while and replied, "First of all, first get rid of the grievances on them. Only after you get rid of the grievances on them can you use the gate of the underworld to send them to the underworld." "Master, I understand what you are saying, But now how do we get rid of the resentment in these female corpses? This is a very critical question. Su Tianqian pondered for a moment, then replied again, the Zai Wei Qi in your body is the purest Qi of Heiran in the world. It can drive away the evil Qi of resentment and eliminate Yin Qi. I was slightly stunned. The aura of awe-inspiring energy in my body could actually have such an effect. If the energy of crepe myrtle could be awakened in my body before, then naturally the evil energy in my body cannot be suppressed by the 8-character blood evil. Otherwise, my master would not have been so harmed. I nodded towards Su Tianqian, took a deep breath, and activated the crepe myrtle energy in my body. The next moment, purple hazy mist spread out from the palm of my hand. Under my control, the energy of Zai Wei flew straight towards the female corpse in the pig cage in the sea. When the female corpse in the pig cage felt the energy of Zai Wei, the vicious and resentful look on her face slowly disappeared, replaced by a look of fear. Soon, the energy of crepe myrtle surrounded the corpse of the pig cage woman. Then, I saw a beam of crimson light bursting out from the crepe myrtle, and finally disappeared between the sky and the earth. This beam of red light should be the yin qi, evil spirit, and resentment on the pig cage woman's corpse. The aura of crepe myrtle slowly dissipated, and the moonlight shone lightly, shining on the corpses of the women in the pig cage. And those female corpses in the pig cage changed their appearance directly after experiencing the baptism of crepe myrtle energy. The skin that was originally corroded into mud by sea water has returned to normal. Their eyes looked around blankly, not knowing what was happening. It's actually normal for them to have such a reaction. Resentment, evil spirit, and yin energy eroded their thoughts and turned them into tools that could only kill. Once the resentment, evil spirit, and yin energy dissipate, they will be in a state of confusion. I looked at these corpses of women in pig cages and said sternly, "Don't look at it. You are wandering around in the world and destroying the order of yin and yang. You should be devastated. But in view of the hardships you have encountered during your lifetime, I will be generous and give you a reincarnation. I wonder if you would like the opportunity to reincarnate." My aura suddenly shrank, and an invisible sense of oppression spread from my body. Now I can also scare ordinary evil spirits. I stared at these female corpses in the pig cage. If any of them dared to say no, I would definitely make her lose her mind on the spot. Because only in this way can the remaining guys be frightened. The female corpses in the pig cage looked at me, and I looked at you, and finally said to me, "We are willing. We are willing. Thank you, Lord Ghost." I let out a long sigh of relief. As long as I wanted to, this would avoid the outbreak of a bitter battle. I waved my hand, and a gate to the underworld emerged from the sea. The female corpses lined up in the pig cage and entered it. After a while, the sea returned to calm. I looked at Su Tianqian and said, "Master, I have already obtained the map, and we have not yet found a guide." "Guide?" Su Tianqian asked doubtfully. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 880. I came to Jins and said to Su Tianqian, "Master, her name is Jins. She helped me find the immortal monument. Without her, I would never have found it." Su Tianqian glanced at Jins with cold eyes. Jins lowered his head in a panic, put his 2 jade hands on his chest, and rubbed them restlessly, looking very scared. When we were at the bottom of the sea, I knew that Jins was a little afraid of people. She was able to come out from the bottom of the sea only because I released her from the cage. "Don't be afraid, she is my master and she is very nice." Jins nodded slightly, but still did not dare to raise his head. Su Tianxuan's beautiful eyes stayed on Jins, and after a while she asked, "Can't you take off your fishtail now?" Jins shook her head. Su Tianqian raised her eyebrows. She came to Jins and suddenly stretched out her hand and put it on Jins's head. This move frightened Jins so much that she backed away repeatedly. To say it was retreating, it was just moving on the deck with its fishtail. "Don't be afraid, I'm here to help you." Although Su Tianxuan's voice was cold and cold, it soothed Jin's uneasy heart. Immediately afterwards, I saw a beam of golden light emerge from Su Tianxuan's palm, and then submerged into Jin's body. After a while, there was no change in Jin's body. Su Tianxian turned around and said to me, "Xiao Su, give her some crepe myrtle energy." I nodded, came to Jin's, and imitated Su Tianxian and put my palm on Jin's. Purple light burst out from my palm, and then sank into Jin's body. The next moment, pale white light slowly emerged from Jin's body. The light became brighter and brighter, and finally filled my eyes. When the white light dissipated, Jin's fishtail had faded away, replaced by two slender white jade legs. Jins looked at her legs in surprise. When Yu Sun Tao saw this scene, she was stunned and said, "Sister Tianxian, you are so willing to give your share to this shark." Su Tianxian ignored her, looked at Jins and said, "We, master and apprentice, will help you remove your fishtail today, but you have to promise me something." Jins raised his head and said quickly, "Please tell me." Su Tianxian put his eyes on me and said, "From now on, stay by his side and help him." I was slightly stunned, wondering why my master would let a shark stay by my side. Think about it carefully, could it be that my master noticed something unusual about Jins? It was also Xiao Hei's own master who asked him to stay by my side. The same is true for Huaxiu, but Huaxiu is my sister in the previous life, so there is no problem in staying by my side. But I know that Su Tianxuan's purpose from the beginning was to let Huaxiu stay by my side to help me. Is there really something unusual about Jins? Jins bowed to Su Tianxian very politely and said, "I promise you." Jins' salute is very standard. How could a mermaid know how to salute in human society? Someone must have taught her that. Jins' life experience is far from simple as I imagined. Su Tianxian nodded with satisfaction, then came to me, stretched out his hand and said, "Give me the map." I nodded and handed the secret book with the map to my master. Su Tianxian took the Tianmiji and glanced at it roughly, then came to the cabin door.